Talking with Aztecs head coach Rocky Long. Coach, first of all, when you look at the tape, obviously a lot of rushing yards gained by Army. What stood out about the 23-20 victory?
Mostly that we played hard and physical. We made some assignment errors. They ran a few things on offense and defense that we hadn't practiced against. They gave us some new stuff that caused us some problems. But we were able to hang in there and make enough plays on both sides of the ball to win the game and finish it out.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, Coach, if you look at style points, maybe this one doesn't rank as an all-time great, but a lot of times, it seems to me anyway, you find out a lot about your football team when maybe they don't play their best, the other team has some big plays, some big moments, and yet still on the road, cross-country, you find a way to win. I mean, that's got to be a huge thumbs up for the whole program going forward.
I think you're exactly right. I think the ability to hang in there when things weren't going especially well for us, just to hang in there and keep plugging along and finding a way to win it at the end, that bodes well for us later on in the season.
Coach Rocky Long with us here on Extra Sports 1360. Coach, after you got off to that 14-0 start, was there any sign of maybe a little let-up, like this is going to be easy, or was that not the case? I know just watching on television back here in San Diego, I was kind of wondering if that was kind of a bad thing for your team to start so fast.
Well, it's never a bad thing to get 14 points, no matter if it's early, late, or in between. But I don't think that was the case. I think that the Army team had to get used to the speed that we had on offense, and they had to get used to how we were lining up on defense. And once they figured it out, they started playing. They played hard. They played well. They played aggressive. They played much, much better than they did the week before, and I think a lot of it had to do with the emotional weekend and being on their campus and everything else.
How did your kids handle the whole weekend, Coach? The trip to New York, I don't really know that any of the Aztecs can complain. I mean, really one of the best places to be in San Diego County Thursday night was in an airplane leaving San Diego County, but I know that it was a delay and it was a long bus ride down to the airport because of the power outage. Team got in maybe an hour and a half later than you thought it would, about 5:30 in the morning. A day of a walkthrough. I mean, how did your kids handle the whole experience of this difficult cross-country trip?
Well, I think they handled the trip, even though it was a little off schedule. I think they handled the trip okay. I think that their experience, I think we felt privileged and honored to be there over the weekend, and I think they handled that well. I mean, our walkthrough was okay, and we got a nice tour of the campus, got to visit with some of the cadets, and just the whole atmosphere of West Point and the weekend, I think, was special. I think that, after watching the tape, after the game, I thought maybe we didn't play very well, and we didn't play as well as we can, but you have to give Army a lot of credit. They played as hard as any team can play, and they played really, really well, and I think that it's a credit to our kids that we were able to experience all those neat things and still come out with a win.
What did they do on defense to give your offense problems? I mean, I think like Ben said, the stat that jumps out is their rushing yardage, and it might think, well, the Aztec defense struggled, but again, I mean, you guys kept them out of the end zone at the end and made some big plays and forced 8 fumbles and recovered 3 of them. So defensively, you guys were able to hold the fort. I was honestly surprised that they were able to hold your team down as much as they were. What did they do defensively, or what didn't you do on offense?
Well, they gave us a couple looks that we hadn't seen before. They gave us a couple looks that we hadn't practiced against, and then they executed those looks really well. So we made some adjustments and tried to get things going, but the closer the game got and the longer it went with them controlling the ball, our offense didn't have as many chances as they normally do. Maybe they got out of rhythm a little bit because they were sitting on the sidelines a lot, because on defense we were really struggling to keep them out of the end zone. Like you said, they rushed for a bunch of yards, and they were running a couple plays we hadn't practiced against, and when we made some adjustments to take those plays away, another hole popped open. But we did keep them out of the end zone, and the offense didn't get many shots. They only had 40-some plays, and usually they're in the 60 to 70 range.
Coach, you expressed some concern about the wide receiver position during camp. Didn't really materialize in the Week 1 game against Cal Poly, but there were a couple of key drops. Talk about that, where your receivers kind of need to improve, and talk about how Ryan Lindley handled that, because he threw some really terrific passes that didn't pay off in the end that probably should have.
Well, I think our receivers had a great week the first week, and then this last weekend we dropped 2 or 3 critical passes. 2 of them would have been touchdowns. One would have kept the drive alive for a first down, and And so that's one of the reasons we didn't have very many plays. And I think if we'd have caught the 2 long balls and put them in the end zone, that would have given us a cushion. I thought Ryan handled it really well. I mean, it's very frustrating for a quarterback to put the ball in somebody's hands and then them drop it. But he also understands that the receivers are young and that they're going to have some good moments and bad moments, and we'll just get better as we go.
Good thing you brought Ronnie Hillman on the trip again. I mean, he comes up with a couple of
Great
touchdowns.
Coaching decision,
Yeah,
Coach.
yeah, that's a good move, Coach. You're really smart. Keep bringing that kid. But his 2 touchdown runs again. Every time he scores, he seems to do something special. And he left a couple of safeties in the dust and to just change direction. And again, at full speed, change direction. That was something that Army couldn't deal with. And I don't know how many teams this year are going to be able to deal with that.
Well, let's hope he keeps having games like the first and second game, because this week we play against a team that's a lot more physical. They're a lot more athletic. They've got more speed on defense, and hopefully he can continue to play like that.
And that opponent's going to be Washington State. It's the Sky Show game this Saturday night. Coach, you're putting that triple option finally in the rearview mirror, at least until you guys face Air Force later in the season. Will it be an adjustment for your team to go back to playing against something that they probably should usually be used to playing against, which is a more regular style offense and a team that's really put up some points in their first 2 games?
Yeah, they're coming in confident. They're running up and down the field. Last week they scored 59 points at 600 yards, and so they're going really, really well. And I'm sure they're going to be hot coming in here. Now the trick is that we practiced against this kind of offense all during fall camp, but we'll see if we can get it back after 2 weeks of the triple option.
Well, Coach, if nothing else, man, to go all the way cross country, San Diego State had won only 1 game in its history in the Eastern Time Zone, and and having made the trip with you, I don't think people really realize just how tough it is to fly that far and to be that far away and to play that early in the morning and still be able to come out with a hard-fought victory. So 2-0, congratulations, and we'll look forward to seeing you Saturday night at the Sky Show game.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.